Okay, so here's a question to kick things off. Can a love story actually be a time capsule? Not, a story about time travel, but like a message engineered and sent back to heal the past.
That is basically the core idea, the really wild thesis behind what we're diving into today, this thing, the indelible mark. A protocol for the heart people often call it Satoshi's bride. It's presented as exactly that.
A meticulously engineered message.
Right.
And it's built by Alberto Daniel Hill, who people might know already. He's a pretty globally recognized cybersecurity expert, right?
Exactly. And our mission today isn't just like a book review. It's more like narrative archaeology. We're digging through the story, yeah, but we're constantly connecting it back to Hill's own, frankly, astonishing real life.
And specifically how he apparently used AI collaboration to rebuild a story he lost because of some really serious trauma.
Right. We want to deconstruct how this whole narrative basically reveals itself as a protocol for healing, how he turned his own devastating reality into the literal source code for survival, for putting things back together.
Which brings us to maybe the most mind-bending part, the frame. Where does this story actually begin?
Yeah, this is crucial. It doesn't start where you'd expect. It starts with this deeply weird conversation between two versions of Alberto Hill himself.
Two versions.
Alberto 2035 talking to Alberto 2024. The future, healed self talking to the past, traumatized self.
Oh, okay, so it's like literal self-help from the future. Your future self as tech support.
Pretty much. The 2035 version basically confirms to the 2024 version, who thinks he's struggling to write this story with an AI, that, hey, this whole book, it's already done, I designed it.
So the entire narrative is a deliberate message, a blueprint for survival sent back in time.
Exactly. Encoded in this fictional dialogue with a machine that, couldn't possibly grasp the human pain that's actually driving the whole thing. 2035 assures 2024 that every chaotic twist, every painful memory we're about to unpack, it was all part of the plan, a breadcrumb trail left by the healed version of himself.
A way to engineer the narrative after the trauma, because you couldn't stop the trauma itself. Okay, I'm hooked. Let's unpack this blueprint. Where does the trauma itself originate?
Okay, so to really get the protocol, you have to understand the wound. Alberto Daniel Hill is, as you said, known worldwide, not just in cybersec circles, but globally for his cause. And it stems from this incredibly shocking true story.
The one documented in his nonfiction book, Operation Bitcoins, Log into Hell.
That's the one. It details this massive injustice, what he calls his personal 911, September 11th, 2017. He was wrongfully arrested, thrown in prison for a cybercrime he absolutely did not commit.
And he wasn't some shady character. He was an ethical hacker,
Yeah.
and a digital knight trying to protect systems.
Completely. His whole career was built on finding vulnerabilities and responsibly reporting them. He found this huge but ultimately simple flaw in a major system, the classic admin credential issue.
Oh, wow, that old chestnut.
Right. And he does the right thing, reports it, gives him his IP, follows all the ethical hacker protocols that have been around forever. Standard procedure for someone trying to help.
But it backfired.
Massively. 2 years later, a totally different, malicious hacker uses that exact same vulnerability. And who gets blamed? Hill, the guy who warned them.
Just scapegoated.
Totally scapegoated. The sources really paint a picture of a judicial system that just didn't understand the technology at all. They needed someone to pin it on, and he was the guy who'd reported it. It was easier to blame the messenger.
And the details of the police raid really underscore that ignorance, don't they?
Oh, absolutely. It's almost darkly funny if it weren't so tragic. The source material recounts them confiscating a simple paper cutter
Yeah.
and labeling it a guillotine in the evidence report. A guillotine? I wish I was. And they seized a Guy Fawkes mask, the kind you see everywhere. They presented that as proof of a terrorist manifesto.
Okay, that's beyond absurd. It sounds like something out of a satire.
But the consequences were devastatingly real. He lost 8 months. 8 months of his freedom, locked up. His long-term relationship just completely crumbled under the strain.
Understandable.
And financially.
Yeah.
He lost millions in crypto, stuff held on exchanges he obviously couldn't access while he was imprisoned. His entire faith in, legal systems, due process, gone. Evaporated.
But he survived. He wrote Log into Hell, which became this global symbol of digital injustice.
He did, but that raw, visceral trauma, the messiness, the illogic of the physical world betraying him, that's the absolute ground zero for the fictional narrative we're digging into. The pain was so chaotic, it needed this structure, this AI collaboration, this fiction, to even start being processed.
Which leads us, I guess, to the fictional protagonist, Anna Torres. who seems designed to be the polar opposite of Hill's chaotic reality.
Absolutely. Her whole professional life is this elaborate defense mechanism against chaos. She craves order, efficiency, verifiable transactions and everything, especially emotions.
And her job history is, well, it's something else.
Yeah.
Really paints a picture.
Doesn't it? The sources list them out, and they're described as these anthropological expeditions into the very heart of human strangeness, but always with her trying to manage it all through data.
Okay, I gotta hear this list.
All right, so she was a face feeler for a cosmetics company, literally touching strangers' faces to judge product efficacy. Intimate, yet totally objective for her.
Weirdly detached.
Yeah. Then an online dating ghostwriter. Crafting connection for, and I quote, emotionally stunted tech bros, building human relationships entirely by proxy.
Avoiding the messiness herself.
Exactly. And maybe the most telling one, professional sleeper, paid to observe sleep patterns, highly objective, until she got fired.
Why?
Because she started having anxious nightmares about a sentient Excel spreadsheet demanding she audit its life choices using pivot tables.
Okay, wow. She was trying to quantify everything, even sleep.
Precisely, which leads to her current pivotal role, digital thanatologist.
What now?
Digital thanatologist. She's a professional mourner for decommissioned AIs. She writes elegant Python code eulogies for, like, obsolete trading algorithms or predictive models that got shut down.
Mourning machines.
Yes. Because for Anna, terminating an AI, even something like the notorious Life2Vec AI that could supposedly predict death, is a clean, verifiable transaction. It has a logical endpoint.
Unlike human grief.
Exactly. She contrasts that clean finality with the chaotic, illogical processes of human relationships and loss. Grief there is never tidy. So she performs these rituals for non-sentient code, specifically to avoid confronting the raw, unprocessable grief of actual people. She's built this fortress of protocols.
The fortress just waiting for a breach.
Yeah.
Which brings us to the inciting incident, right? The analog glitch.
Perfect term for it, because
Yeah.
it's so mundane, so physical. She's on a dating app just mindlessly sorting through profiles like data points. Routine data hygiene for her.
Treating people like database entries.
Pretty much. Then, the real world intrudes. A push notification pops up on her phone. It's a reminder about drafting that eulogy for the Life2Vec AI she mourns.
And that distraction causes.
Her thumb stutters. Just this tiny physical spasm, an analog glitch in her otherwise smooth digital interaction, and she accidentally swipes right on a profile she hadn't even consciously processed.
A physical misclick, basically.
Yeah.
But with huge consequences.
Huge. It's described as the physical manifestation of her soul's deep-seated need to break free. This irreversible physical misclassification error that forces her out of her carefully constructed digital fortress and sets the whole healing protocol in motion.
And the profile she matches with, Satoshi.
Or sometimes John Smith. And he's the perfect abstract counterpart for her.
Oh.
His profile is deliberately described as a stylometric anomaly, a linguistic puzzle box.
Like the real-world debates about who Satoshi Nakamoto, the Bitcoin creator, actually was based on their writing style.
Exactly like that. This fictional Satoshi mirrors that whole cottage industry of analysis.
Yeah.
His profile picture isn't even stable. It's this flickering collage of speculative faces. Hal Finney one second, maybe Nick Szabo the next.
People who've been suggested as the real Satoshi.
Right, and his bio is just a mess linguistically. It uses British spellings like favor right next to American ones like color. It's designed to confuse any analysis, mirroring the real deep dives into Nakamoto's emails and forum posts. He's a digital ghost.
The perfect non-threatening entity for someone like Anna.
Theoretically. But safety goes out the window pretty fast. Their first date in Montevideo is anything but secure or orderly. The narrative calls it a denial-of-service attack on reality.
A DOS attack on reality. How?
Well, the setting is supposed to be minimalist, controlled, but chaos just erupts. Starts small, a server spills kombucha everywhere. Then the cafe's sound system glitches out and starts screaming this corrupted crypto podcast loop.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Bitcoin to the moon. Hodl, Bitcoin to the moon, over and over. The whole atmosphere just degrades.
And it gets worse outside, right? With the loom breakers.
Oh, yeah. They stumble outside, and the city's been taken over by this radical neo-Luddite group, the Loom Breakers. Their whole philosophy is applied inconvenience. They think technology's smoothness is, like, spiritually toxic.
And they see Bitcoin
How?
as the ultimate act of supreme intellectual inconvenience, because it forces people to actually think about money, trust, systems. It's not seamless. So paradoxically, they kind of revere Satoshi's creation while hating tech.
Okay, so what does their applied inconvenience look like in practice?
Pure, surreal chaos aimed right at Anna and Satoshi.
Yeah.
Parrots start dive-bombing people, squawking garbled bits of the Bitcoin white paper.
Parrots.
Parrots. Then you've got self-driving unicycles piloted by, like, flickering holographic philosophers think Plato on a Segway trapping people in logic loops.
This sounds like a fever dream.
It gets weirder. Robotic cobras slittering out of sewers, spraying ASCII art portraits of Satoshi's blurry face onto buildings.
Robotic cobras. Okay.
But the detail that really sticks, the exploding blockchain burritos?
Yeah.
Exploding burritos. Please explain.
Anna gets handed one, seemingly innocuous. It then detonates, covering her in this spicy confetti made of tiny, unreadable QR codes. She literally becomes this piece of chaotic, glitched data for a moment. It's a denial of service attack on her sanity, her order.
And Satoshi's reaction to all this madness?
He's strangely calm, almost like a node in a network, just observing the packet loss.
Yeah.
And this is the moment Anna realizes he's not just one guy.
He's what?
A collective consciousness. A Satoshi variant. His personality, his accent, even his core beliefs, they shift weekly. Like he's running some kind of internal consensus algorithm to figure out who he is this week.
That's deeply unsettling. How does Anna handle that?
She tries to impose order, of course. She turns their relationship into a clinical study, starts logging his personas, basically running her own A/B test setup just to keep track.
So she knows who she's dealing with on any given day.
Kind of. Like, she notes that Monday's persona is the American pragmatist, very focused on code, efficiency, economics, maybe channeling someone like Wei Dai, another early crypto pioneer.
Okay.
But then by Thursday, she gets the British anarchist, super cynical, anti-establishment, uses British slang and spelling's maths, color.
Which directly mirrors the linguistic clues people use to argue how Finney might have been Satoshi.
Exactly. It's a deliberate nod. She's dating this living embodiment of the Satoshi identity mystery. It keeps him abstract, coded, safely distant from the messy, singular, real trauma that defines someone like Alberto Hill.
But that distance can't last, right? The real world has to crash the party eventually.
It does, through a classic vulnerability vector, human impulse. Anna takes this uncharacteristic shortcut. She sees this crude, hand-drawn QR code scrawled on a grimy brick wall somewhere in Montevideo.
Okay, nothing good ever comes from scanning random QR codes off walls.
Tell me about it. But she does it, and the narrative frames this perfectly as a side-channel attack.
How so? Like in cybersecurity?
Exactly. A side-channel attack isn't hacking the code directly. It's exploiting a physical aspect outside the system, like power usage or electromagnetic leaks to get secret info. Here, the dirty real-world vector, that grimy wall QR code, bypasses all her careful digital firewalls.
And the payload isn't malware, it's
Information. Raw, visceral text. It executes and delivers the full text of Operation Bitcoins. Log into hell directly to her device.
boom, the real world crashes in.
Completely. This is the first time the fictional Anna is forced to confront the real source code of suffering. She's introduced to Alberto Daniel Hill, the human anomaly. His pain isn't coded, it's not abstract, it's visceral, illogical, deeply unfair.
The kind of messy human stuff her entire life is designed to avoid.
Precisely. The elegant systems she understands are suddenly contaminated by the story of real-world injustice, a man broken by a stupid, illogical human system failure.
So now she's got this fundamental conflict, the abstract, logical, shifting perfection of Satoshi versus the messy, tangible, undeniable pain of Alberto.
And faced with this conflict, this data she can't easily classify, she does the only thing Anna knows how to do. She formalizes it. She designs the A/B test of the heart.
Turning her love life into literal research and development, trying to find the superior protocol for existence.
Exactly. And these 5 trials she runs are really the philosophical core of the book. Each one pits the algorithmic approach against the embodied human one.
Okay, let's walk through them. What's trial number 1?
Trial 1. The IKEA assembly test, the ultimate relationship crucible.
Ah, yes, if you can survive building flat-pack furniture together.
Right. So Satoshi, being logical perfection, offers this holographic assembly guide, calculates optimal torque for screws, but he physically can't turn the Allen key. He's pure information.
Alberto.
Alberto throws the manual away instantly, rejects the protocol, he grabs a butter knife, mutters a bunch of curses, and somehow strong-arms the wobbly bookshelf together.
Okay, so messy improvisation wins.
Wins decisively. Physical effort, adaptation, using the wrong tool but getting it done, it triumphs over abstract, optimized perfection that ultimately achieves nothing in the real world. Alberto 1, Satoshi 0.
Right, trial 2.
The pet whispering challenge. They have to calm this neurotic Chihuahua named Killer. The dog is convinced it's the reincarnation of Ned Ludd, the original Luddite.
Of course it is. How does Satoshi approach this?
Algorithms. Calming frequencies. Optimize sonic patterns based on canine neurochemistry. It just makes Killer more frantic.
And Bodo's strategy.
He completely ignores the dog. Instead, he just sits down and starts methodically, almost meditatively, disassembling an old toaster he finds.
Picking apart technology in front of the Luddite dog.
Exactly. And Killer is apparently so mesmerized by this quiet, determined physical act of mechanical deconstruction, this human defiance of the machine, that he just chills out and falls asleep in Alberto's lap.
Wow, okay. Intuition and weirdly specific context beats algorithm. Alberto 2-0.
Yep. Trial 3. The spontaneous date test. Satoshi, naturally, plans a hyper-optimized evening. A 4.8 star-rated experience, meticulously timed museum visit, prepaid dinner at a restaurant with validated positive sentiment scores.
Maximum efficiency, minimum risk.
Total optimization. Alberto, meanwhile, sends a single text. Meet me at the corner, saw a guy selling churros from a shopping cart. Looks sketchy, probably amazing.
Oh, the sketchy churro gambit. Bold.
And Anna, the protocol obsessive, chooses the churros because they represent possibility, discovery, the chance of maybe getting food poisoning, but also maybe having the best churro of her life. Messy, unverified joy wins over perfect, sterile planning. Alberto 3-0.
Makes sense. What's trial 4?
Convince a Luddite, not the dog this time, a human member of the Loom Breakers. Satoshi brings data, charts, graphs, flawless arguments about GDP growth, technological progress, efficiency gains. Very logical.
And very ineffective against a true believer, I imagine.
Totally. Alberto wins with one single resonant question that connects technology directly back to human justice and lived experience. He just asks, do you know how many government corruption scandals have been exposed, not by big systems, but just because some random person filmed it on their phone?
Oof, that's powerful. Hits differently than GDP charts.
Right. It reframes tech not just as corporate control, but as a potential tool for the powerless against the powerful. It speaks directly to Alberto's own fight. Lived experience beats abstract data 4-0.
Okay, the final trial. The emotional Turing test. This sounds critical.
It is. It's the heart of the test. Anna experiences a minor loss. Her houseplant dies. A small personal grief.
How do the contenders respond?
Satoshi is instantaneous. Algorithmic perfection. Offers immediate, syntactically correct condolences, analyzes potential reasons for plant failure, and provides a list of 3 genetically engineered, hardier replacement plant options with user reviews.
Efficient. And probably completely unhelpful emotionally.
Exactly. Alberto takes a full minute to even respond. There's a pause. Then, he doesn't offer a solution. He offers shared vulnerability. He tells her the story about his own lost plant.
Steve the cactus.
Steve the cactus. He tells her how, during the police raid, they confiscated his beloved cactus because they genuinely thought it might be some kind of weapon or concealment device.
They thought the cactus was a weapon.
The sheer absurdity, the illogical nature of the loss, the shared, messy, slightly ridiculous pain of that anecdote. It connects on a level the algorithm couldn't touch. It's not about fixing the problem. It's about acknowledging the weirdness of suffering.
And that wins it.
Wins it big time. Alberto sweeps the A/B test, 5-0. The data is overwhelming. The flawed, messy, sometimes ridiculous embodied human is the superior protocol for living.
But that realization must be terrifying for Anna, right? Her whole system is built on avoiding exactly that conclusion.
It shatters her. The narrative says the result is emotionally unacceptable. Her protocols-driven mind can't handle the logical conclusion that she must choose illogical chaos. And this internal system crash, this vulnerability, is immediately exploited.
By the Loom Breakers.
By the Loom Breakers. They see Alberto now not just as an anomaly, but as a malicious block, a piece of dangerous code that could contaminate the abstract purity of Satoshi's network, which Anna is still connected to.
So they attack Satoshi.
They launch a denial-of-service attack, but not on a server, on Satoshi's soul. They decide to weaponize the one kind of data Satoshi's abstract, logic-based collective consciousness cannot possibly process.
So that data is
raw, visceral, illogical human suffering. Specifically, they mine Alberto's real-world trauma from log into hell, and they flood Satoshi's network with the single devastating phrase. I was sent to prison on September 11th, 2017. It was my September 11.
that specific, personal, deeply traumatic statement.
Yes, because that kind of data, the weight of real injustice, the illogicality of that specific data association, the sheer human pain of it, Satoshi's network, has no protocol for processing. It's like trying to divide by zero for a purely logical system.
So what happens to Satoshi?
The collective consciousness fractures. It cannot compute, cannot reach consensus on how to integrate this malicious block of pure human suffering. The network fragments, and Satoshi falls silent, gone.
Leaving Anna completely alone, forced off the network, facing the messy human she just proved was superior, but is terrified to embrace.
Exactly. The abstract safety net is ripped away, which forces her hand. She has to choose the human path, even knowing it leads to pain and complexity.
And this leads to the first potential resolution the narrative explores, the one framed as a romantic tragedy.
Right. She finds Alberto in Montevideo, seemingly ready to commit, to accept the messy reality she chose in the A/B test.
But it's not that simple.
Never is. Because now Alberto reveals the true cost of his chosen path, his core protocol. She finds him, and he's sitting there, softly singing Bella Ciao.
The Italian resistance anthem, that's a pretty loaded choice.
Incredibly loaded. It immediately signals that his primary commitment isn't to personal happiness, but to a larger struggle. He even explains the song's history to her, its dual soul, representing both the protesting rice workers and the anti-Farrers partisans. It's fundamentally about choosing the cause over the self.
And he connects this to his own life.
Directly. He tells her his life is governed by an old code, a vow baked into his identity, referencing a line from Uruguay's national anthem, Orientales, la patria o la tumba.
Which means?
Orientals, Uruguayans, the fatherland or the tomb. It's a vow of absolute commitment to the nation, to the cause, above all else, even life itself.
So even though he won the test by being human and messy, he reveals his own rigid, almost self-destructive protocol.
Precisely. He tells Anna devastatingly, a beautiful family is a vulnerability I cannot afford. His life is a constant state of war against the injustices he fights globally, and personal happiness, deep connection, makes him a target.
Wow. So the human she chose, the one capable of winning her heart through messy authenticity, is ultimately unavailable because of his own deeply ingrained sacrificial code.
It's tragic. He embodies the human superiority she discovered, but his specific humanity is built around a core of public service that prevents the very intimacy she now craves. The man who could win the test is the one she can't securely have.
That's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But Anna doesn't just collapse.
No, this is where her character shows incredible strength and takes a profound turn. She responds not with despair, but with this act of radical solidarity. She repurposes an idea called proof of love.
Proof of love.
Yeah, it's mentioned in the sources as something Alberto had actually developed conceptually with a former associate named Evelyn, related to using blockchain for non-financial verification. Anna takes that concept and gives it immense personal weight.
Oh.
On a very specific date, January 3rd, 2029. Chosen deliberately because it marks exactly 20 years since the mining of the Bitcoin Genesis block, a hugely symbolic date in crypto history.
Okay, and on that date,
she accesses the now dormant Satoshi wallet. And she makes a tiny transaction, 1.00001 BTC, practically worthless financially.
but the value isn't monetary.
Not at all. Embedded within that transaction, using the limited data space available in older Bitcoin protocols, she inscribes a message that is now permanently, immutably etched onto the public blockchain for anyone to see forever.
And the message is?
My name is Alberto Daniel Hill. This is my September 11.
Wow. Using the blockchain to memorialize his trauma.
It's the indelible mark of the title, a profound reversal.
Yeah.
She takes this technology designed for financial anonymity, for detaching transactions from identity, and uses it to publicly, permanently attach his name to his deepest wound.
A purposeful scar on the ledger.
Exactly. It's her saying, your pain is real, it's verified, and it will not be erased or forgotten. She trades her old digital detachment for this permanent, inconvenient digital commitment to his cause, even if she can't have the man himself. It's an act of profound solidarity.
That's a powerful, if bittersweet, resolution. But you mentioned the frame story, the conversation with Alberto 2035. How does that fit back in?
Right, because that romantic tragedy, while powerful, isn't the final resolution presented by the overarching structure. After Anna runs through these simulations, proving the human path superior but painful, she finally meets the architect, Alberto 2035.
The future self who designed the whole thing.
Exactly, and he confirms it explicitly. This whole story, it was basically a script meeting. A narrative protocol I designed to bring us together, but more importantly, to heal my past self, the 2024 version, by giving his trauma purpose and shape.
So the fiction was therapy, engineered from the future.
A very complex form of therapy. And then the conversation pivots, revealing the true, deep-seated psychological origin of Alberto's lifelong obsession with finding the perfect, static, and safe, the thing that drove his need for protocols in the first place.
And it goes back way further than the imprisonment.
Way further. Back to his adolescence. The sources paint this vivid picture. 1994, Alberto is 17, living in this tiny town in Uruguay, like 5,000 people tiny, isolated.
Okay.
And he becomes completely captivated by an image of distant American perfection. Actress Nicole Eggert playing Summer Quinn on Baywatch.
Baywatch, seriously.
Seriously. And we need to pause here and really emphasize something the sources make clear. This part of the story, the Nicole Eggert connection, is 100% real. This actually happened in Alberto Daniel Hill's life.
Wait, the Baywatch obsession leading somewhere is real.
Absolutely real. And think about the odds. A kid in a 5,000-person town in rural Uruguay in the mid-90s, what are the chances he ever even meets, let alone becomes friends with, his Hollywood teenage crush from halfway across the world?
Astronomical, basically zero.
Exactly. It's statistically near impossible. But his reaction to that impossible, distant, perfect image, it was to build his first digital protocol.
What did he do?
He taught himself web design and built this elaborate fan shrine to her on GeoCities. Remember GeoCities?
Oh man, GeoCities.
Yeah.
Blast from the past. He built a fan site.
The fan site, apparently.
Yeah.
The source gives the specific URL, like www.geocities.com, Hollywood 2613, and it became this global hub for Nicole Eggert fans.
He created a community.
Yeah. And through contests run on the site, promotions, he actually won prizes, including eventually flying to Los Angeles. This GeoCities site was his first successful protocol for admiring things that were perfect, static, and safe. Things that existed as uncorruptible images, unlike messy reality.
That's incredible. So his tech skills started with teenage fandom.
Seems like it. First, the perfect image, then he sought the perfect system of justice, then the perfect logical partner in Satoshi, then the perfectly imperfect partner in Anna, only to find the protocol only truly works when it embraces the messy human reality that inevitably contaminates it.
But how does the Nicole Eggert story resolve? Does he ever meet her back then?
Not back then. The real mind-blowing resolution, which Alberto 2035 reveals, happened much later. In 2019, years after his imprisonment, years after Login to Hell, Nicole Eggert, now a mother, a producer, living a whole different life, followed him back on social media.
She followed him after all those years.
Yes. Apparently, someone showed her his story, his background, maybe even the old GeoCities connection, and this teenage one-sided obsession suddenly transformed into, as the source describes it, a beautiful and healthy friendship between two adults.
That's genuinely amazing.
And he told her everything, the whole impossible story, the GeoCities shrine, the wrongful imprisonment, the fight for justice, maybe even the seeds of the Satoshi's bride narrative.
And this leads to the ultimate resolution of the meta-narrative.
This is it. The true climax isn't Anna choosing Alberto over Satoshi. It isn't even the blockchain message. It's a scene depicted in the final chapter. A pitch meeting in Los Angeles.
It's a pitch meeting.
Nicole Eggert, the former object of his perfect protocol, is now pitching his chaotic, unbelievable life story to a skeptical Hollywood executive. She's pitching the whole thing.
Right.
The GeoCities origin, the injustice, the digital Thanatologist character, the glitch storm date, the A/B test.
She's pitching the story we've just been discussing.
Exactly. And she sells it not just as a cybercrime story, but as this incredible tale about how, quote, a piece of 90s pop culture can butterfly effect its way into changing the world and battling global corruption.
Connecting Baywatch to fighting injustice. That's quite a pitch.
But the line that apparently seals the deal, the moment that transforms all the trauma, the loss, Anna's heartbreaking choice into a triumphant Hollywood narrative, it's delivered by Nicole Eggert herself, pointing to the character based on Alberto.
Yep.
And the character he was obsessed with was me.
Chills. Okay. That ties it all together in the most unexpected way.
Right. The ultimate proof of love isn't a transaction, it's a green light from a studio. The narrative itself, his trauma, their potential love story, the weird Chihuahua, the cactus, it's all collaboratively transformed into a movie. It's enshrined by the Hollywood machine.
So the indelible mark isn't just a blockchain scar anymore. It's the story itself, validated, immortalized on screen.
Yeah.
His protocol for healing resulted in a movie deal based on his real life, pitched by his childhood crush.
That seems to be the ultimate resolution offered by the 2035 frame. The trauma isn't erased, but it's given meaning, shape, and a global audience through this incredibly improbable series of events grounded in both digital protocols and very real human connections.
Okay, wow. So let's try and synthesize this. What does it all mean? We started asking if AI could write a love story or be a time capsule.
And I think the synthesis here is that the story, which was written with AI collaboration to reconstruct something lost to trauma, brilliantly repurposes all these complex cyber concepts. A/B testing, side channel attacks, proof of work, DOS attacks, not just as plot devices, but as a framework for understanding human resilience.
So it uses the language of code to describe the human condition.
Exactly. But the ultimate takeaway isn't that protocols are the answer. It's almost the opposite. Love, truth, resilience, they aren't algorithms to be optimized or predictions to be made. They emerge from the courage to choose, as Anna did, the messy, real chaos over perfect, sterile order.
Alberto's real-life struggle provided the essential, messy data, and Anna's fictional life of protocols provided the structure needed to finally process that data, both for him as the author and for the reader.
It's a fascinating symbiosis between lived experience and engineered narrative.
Which brings us right back to that framing device and the final provocative thought. Alberto 2035 confirming the whole thing was designed. The narrative ends, doesn't it, with Alberto and Anna together watching actors reenact their chaotic first date, the glitch storm.
That's the closing image, them watching their own messy reality turned into performance.
So here's the question for you, the listener, to chew on, stemming from that final scene and the 2035 reveal. If the entire story, including the very moments their connection formed, was actually a protocol engineered by Alberto's future self to heal his past, does knowing that diminish their love? Does it undermine their free will?
Or, conversely, does it elevate it? Is consciously collaborating on a self-healing narrative protocol, weaving together trauma, AI, fiction, and improbable reality, maybe the highest form of human agency? Does it prove that even destiny or healing sometimes needs that messy butter knife, that human touch, to actually succeed?
A protocol that requires imperfection to function. Something to think about.